Chris with your better late than never Steelers draft preview for 2018. So, don't have a lot of time. The Browns have already ruined someone's life. The draft is underway. Let me hurry up and get to it. First, for the Steelers, drafting, I believe, at 28th this year, we're going to stick to our typical strategy. So, the Steelers' drafting strategy, of course, as in years past, is always going to be immediate needs for the first pick or two, and then best player available thereafter, or BPA thereafter. So, if you think about the Artie Burns pick, that was a definite need. We did stretch a bit in the first round a couple years ago to get Burns, but obviously there was a need there. We took care of that first before we went after the best players available that could also help the team out. That being said, for the first two picks this year, I think, well, to me it's pretty obvious what the first need is. It's going to be at that inside linebacker spot to replace Shazier. Unfortunately, I do not believe we're going to see Shazier in football pads again, especially no time soon. Actually, I really do love what he's doing with the Penguins, though. If he can't be on the field, if he can't be on the ice, he's out there representing for his city. I cannot thank and salute Ryan Shazier enough for that. So, love him, love what he's doing. Really unfortunate not to see him out there, but that being said, I'm not going to insult anyone's intelligence here. I do not know enough about this year's draft class to throw out names like I have in the past. What I will say is I definitely think the inside linebacker spot is going to be our first priority. Second, and this is a bit more controversial, I think the quarterback is going to be the next biggest need for our team. That's not to say that I think Ben's going away this season or even next season. What I'm saying is now with Todd Haley being out, Randy Fisher coming in, not sure if I butchered his name or not. If I'm Randy, I want to start to groom my quarterback of the future. Ben has his technique down. He doesn't need a whole lot of coaching. He's like Peyton Manning out there in the field. He can call his own plays if need be. If I'm Randy, I'm starting to think now, I want to start to mold and groom who that next person is going to be. Now, I do think that Dobbs is a very solid option. I do think that if we draft someone that could spell the end for Bones Jones especially. But one kind of spoiler alert I'll throw out here. If the Steelers end this year's draft with an extra pick in 2019's draft in the first 1, 2, maybe 3 rounds, that to me is foreshadowing that next year we're going to package up and try and get Ben's replacement. So if we do draft a quarterback, obviously not looking to see anything next year. If we package up, if we have a remaining draft left at the end of this year, next year we package up, I see us attacking the quarterback position much earlier in the draft next year, hoping to get the heir to that throne. Thereafter, I think it's going to be the best players available. So a couple other needs out there that we do have. The offensive line, Chris Hubbard committing professional suicide going down to Cleveland. We're going to have to fill that spot at that tackle. Also, we're a little thin at the guard position, so I'd really like to see a B.J. Finney type of guy who can swing between, for B.J. Finney, it was, excuse me, not B.J. Finney, for Cody Wallace. For Cody Wallace, he was a center/guard. I like to see someone from the same cut cloth as him be a guard tackle to fill those positions. A couple others we have out there, we're a little thin at the safety position. I could definitely see us taking someone 4 or 5 there. There are not very many other needs. If you really think about the team last year and where we were strong and where we weren't, of course we made it into the playoffs, didn't make it as far as the Super Bowl like we wanted to. So you start to think, okay, what could we have done differently that could have helped us get to that Super Bowl? Everyone's been calling for that man defense, that man coverage in our secondary. And again, losing Shazier when we did last year, I think unfortunately put a bit of a hamper on that. So expect that inside linebacker, if we do get him first round, to be a speedy guy, kind of, like I said, cut from the same cloth as someone like a Ryan Shazier who had a really great fit in Pittsburgh. Something else I want to talk about, the one thing I always worry about in the draft is how the Bengals draft. Obviously, not being as good as the Steelers in any particular season, the Bengals always get that draft pick ahead of the Steelers. and sometimes take a lot of the guys that I would like to have seen wearing black and gold. So I'll call out the Jacksons of the world at cornerback. Man, there's been so many that you guys got to pick ahead of us because you don't win playoff games and stuff like we do in Pittsburgh. So my fear this year again is that the Bengals are going to be looking for very similar players as the Steelers. What else do they have going on over there? Man, the problems they have are mostly going to be on offensive line. So that swing guard tackle that I like to see wearing black and gold might end up wearing black and orange stripes, whatever. Let me think, what else for the Steelers? I think that the other needs that we have, you're typically going to see on offense, and again, they're not needs, but to add depth to the wide receiver position, wouldn't be mad at that. And another spoiler alert, and this is what I'll leave you with, the running back position. For us to franchise tag Le'Veon Bell 2 straight years, I'm sure that doesn't really sit well with him, although I'd never see him leaving the black and gold. I don't see that happening, but he needs to be spelled. I'm not sure if it's so much that he needs that much money. I think for him, the issue is, for as hard as he works, he either needs to be spelled or he's essentially doing the work of 2 guys. He's essentially a running back and a wide receiver if you think about how he racks up these all-purpose yards. So according to him, he's thinking, oh, I need 2 salaries. Maybe not. Maybe what you need is someone to come in there and help you out. So I could definitely see us taking another running back, maybe 4 or 5. Not that James Conner is not getting the job done there, but just to add a little bit more depth later on in the season. If you need someone to come in with a little bit less wear and tear, that could be the guy. So, hey, thank you guys very much. I'm going to keep checking in to see who we draft. I'm going to keep checking in to see whose lives Cincinnati, Baltimore, Cleveland ruin. And go Steelers, fuck the Patriots.